Hi, and welcome along to a one-way football. Yes, one-on-one fan talk. We're back again. Today we're here with Robert from Rubinstein. I don't know if I always pronounce that correctly. Is it? It's definitely Rubinstein. I'm getting that right. Yeah, it is.
You've got that right, mate.
yeah. I'm always like Rubinstein. Newcastle channel. We were just talking about this. You'd like to base yourself not just on Newcastle. You like to think that you talk about everything, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. As I say, obviously Newcastle's a pretty popular topic at the moment, so I'm doing a lot of Newcastle stuff right now. But I've got stadium tours from all over the country and loads of stuff going on. So yeah, try and do a bit of everything.
Yeah, we'll leave the link in the description to your channel anyway.
Thank you, mate.
At the bottom. Yes, but we are here to talk about Newcastle. So Eddie Howe. I mean, looking at this, right, and I was pondering about this a lot because I'm going, okay, so the January transfers coming up, right, season. You've now appointed Eddie Howe as your manager.
Yeah.
Is that a massive step from Steve? Do you know what I mean? Is
yes.
Because
it has to be.
Yeah, of course, you know what I mean. But what went wrong with Steve? Just goes through, put us through this scenario. What actually happened with Steve? Why he couldn't take charge of Newcastle and get him by the reins properly?
I mean, you know, I was very much Steve Bruce out myself. The whole talk of, you know, at the end of the day, and people have said, you know, the Newcastle fans weren't particularly nice to Steve Bruce and all that kind of thing. And I do get it. And you can look at, you know, there's 2 points of view. You can look at it for the way that really the squad isn't up to what it should be. He is managing with one hand tied behind his back with an owner like Mike Ashley. But then you do look at it the other way. And Steve Bruce is the best backed Newcastle manager in history after spending 140 million over the years that he was in. He hadn't won a game. I think he won 7 games in 38 matches or something. So his win record was atrocious.
Wow.
And, you know, you look at Spurs sacking Nuno, sitting, you know, 2 wins away from being in the Champions League spot. You look at Conte coming in, and then you look at us, you know, we hadn't won in 8 games. And then Newcastle fans are being told that we're being harsh and that we should be happy with Steve Bruce. I mean, I don't think any team in the world, regardless of league or situation, would be happy with 0 wins in 8 games. So
do you not think though that they could have waited maybe to the January transfer, because maybe then he could have maybe swapped it around a little bit? Or do you think that he's got no chance of even doing anything there?
The thing is, it was obviously the football, and that is the main thing. And as I say, having not won a game this season was really putting a huge downer on all the fans going to the games. But the other side of it as well is that, to be honest, I think Steve Bruce had basically down tools and was waiting to be sacked so that he could get his payoff, because he was shouting at the reporters interviewing him. He wasn't given truthful answers. There was a whole load of rumors about bust-ups in the changing rooms. The players were only training 2 times a week. There's a story that they'd gone down to the training ground ready in the international break, and when they got there, found out that Steve Bruce had already flown to Portugal because he was having 2 weeks off. So there's all this kind of stuff was going on in the background as well. And I just think that with the new owners coming in, a lot of people were looking at it as a fresh start. And I think part of that fresh start needed to be a new manager in charge as well.
I mean, Eddie Howe, though. I mean, because there was obviously the rumor of Good Evening coming back, you know, to the Premier League. Yeah, that was quite funny when I seen a meme, like, you know, it was his first opening line would be "Good evening, pet."
Evening.
But would you have said he would have been a better signing for Newcastle?
You know, and this is the next thing. You know, some Newcastle fans have kind of said, you know, we've got in Eddie Howe, could have had him 3 weeks ago because he was without a job. You know, why is it taking so long to bring in a man who probably would have said yes the minute you called him 3 weeks ago?
But he didn't have the greatest spell at Bournemouth. Do you know what I mean? It was
Well, I've obviously looked into Eddie Howe a lot more over the last couple of weeks, and that is one thing people do say is that Eddie Howe did get relegated with Bournemouth from the Premier League, but you do also have to look ahead of that at the 5 seasons that he had in the Premier League with a Bournemouth side who pretty much had championship players majorly, and managed to do a really good job. I think he finished 9th one season. And yes, it did go wrong in the end, but that was a season that was plagued by injury and COVID. So I would like to look at the 5 seasons prior to that.
Yeah, of course. I think anyone would, though, Jeremy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like going into the takeover, right?
Yeah.
Going back to takeover, because I haven't had a chance to talk to any Newcastle fans about this. Obviously, everyone was delighted. You've seen the scenes outside the stadium.
Yeah.
Then your first game, obviously, Steve Bruce was still there. So your first game, and you played, was it Tottenham?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And you score. Everyone's happy. You did even the opening part of the game, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It was look, must have felt like you was at a Champions League game. And then you go and was it 4-1 in the end?
Yeah, 3-1, I think.
And you just see a picture of them, and it's just like,
oh yeah.
And the other meme is now, what have we brought ourselves into?
Yeah, no, the before and after. They actually had the owners up on the big screen in the stadium as well, so everyone was cheering. I mean, you know what the thing is, and I've had my season ticket for a good few years now. I actually got it when we went down to the Championship with Rafa, so I even bought into it when we were in a bad place to begin with.
Yeah.
Then the last few seasons, a lot of fans were giving up their tickets. A lot of fans were really getting sick of it. And to be honest, I don't blame any of them, because it has been pretty bad. And at the end of the day, one thing I will say as well is that football is up and down. Nothing's ever, you don't just win every game, and you can't expect to win every game. But so a big part of going to the games for me was always, meeting up with mates, like going down there beforehand, having a drink, seeing your friends after. So when I got my season ticket this season, a lot of it was due to the fact that because of the pandemic, I hadn't seen a lot of these people in, a year and a half. And as much as it was about going to the football, it was also just going back and socializing and, connecting with that part of my life again. But at the same time, we've been as bad this season as I can ever remember. And we played Wolves away. And honestly, at that point, I was thinking, why did I get this ticket? Because it's honestly that bad. And funnily enough, literally the week of me having this conversation with myself, thinking it's literally that bad, the takeover went through. So I don't know if somebody was listening upstairs to my little conversation in my head, but it went through. And mate, honestly, I was in the car finishing work. I drove straight to the stadium and actually parked it up for the night, and then went and got the cans and stood outside the stadium. It was a fantastic night. It was something that I'll never forget. I know that.
I mean, it's always going to be in your head. Do you know what I mean? It's never going to go. Yeah,
definitely.
But just no wins though so far.
I know.
It's just 5 draws, 6 losses, and looking at that, you just go, "Oh my god, that's a relegation form right there."
I'll tell you this stat that I heard the other day. Only twice, I think it was Derby in the 2000s and Blackburn in the 90s. Only twice has a team lost their first 11 games and not been relegated. So if we are able to not get relegated now, we will be the 3rd team ever to not do that. And we play Brentford in our next game.
Yeah.
If we lose to Brentford, and then lose or draw to Brentford, and then don't get relegated, we will be the first team in history to have not won one of their first 12 games and then stayed in the league. So,
oh my god,
like,
good stat there. Good stat.
Yeah, you're thinking it's bad. Like when you hear that, you're
making history.
It's really bad. It's tough. And as you say, I mean, a lot of what I'm looking at as well at the minute is, we've talked about everyone was like, it's a new era with the new owners and stuff. I'm seeing Eddie Howe coming in as a fresh start as well. I think you have to be honest, because it's just been so poor up to this point. If we continue in any way, shape, or form the way we are playing, it's going to be game over for us.
I mean, speaking to Johnny on yesterday with the Spurs fan, obviously you get a good vibe and a good fresh feeling when a new manager is appointed. Do you know what I mean? You get that feeling of like, oh, let's try and turn this around now. And I think the players do a little bit. You know what I mean? There's a buzz feeling around the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? That something's going to change. But then it's like I said before, that's on paper. What happens out on the pitch is completely different to what you feel like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we are desperate for this new manager bounce. I mean, again, Steve Bruce got let go, and then Graham Jones took over for 3 weeks. And I'll hold my hands up and I'll say that I was all for that, to be honest, because a lot of what Graham Jones has done since he came in was so pretty much a new coach bounce when Graham Jones came in at the start of the year, because we actually went and played well for a few games until Steve Bruce relegated him to the stands, because I think he was feeling a bit hard done to that everyone was cheering on Graham Jones and not him. But anyway, so Graham Jones took over. You know what it is? If you look at it on paper, and you'd said to me, a draw against Chelsea and Brighton, a draw against Crystal Palace and Brighton, and a loss against Chelsea. Those were Graham Jones's 3 games. I would say he's done an okay job. But going back to what you said, having Graham Jones go from coach to manager isn't going to give anyone any new manager bounce, because he's been in there for the last year. He's not going to really have time to kind of activate a new game plan. I'm hoping that Eddie Howe at training this morning is straight away in there and just putting some passion back into these players, because at the end of the day, I think our squad's all right. St. Max, Callum Wilson, Dubravka and Net, Willock, obviously coming over from Arsenal. Some of these guys are good players, and it's not like, and we don't even need these players to overperform.
Your striker, is it maximum?
Wilson.
Yeah. I think he's brilliant. I think he's quality.
Yeah, mate. He's a great player. And that's the thing. Like, we don't even need these guys to overperform. We just need them to perform. We are underperforming so badly with what is a decent side. So if he can get them, passing the ball straight for a change, I think we've got a chance.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, looking at your next fixtures, like you said, I think the international break has been a godsend to you right now. You just appointed a new manager, and now he's got time now. He's got 2 weeks just to maybe kick into some of these players. Do you know what I mean? Like, it couldn't have come at a better time for you guys, this international break, I think.
No, it's, as you say, it's perfect. Eddie Howe has got 2 weeks now to basically drill into these players how to beat Brentford. You look at it the other way, I think, well, again, you mentioned the fixtures there. We've got Brentford, then we've got Arsenal away, so I'm not expecting much from you, if I'm being honest. But then after that, it goes Norwich and Burnley.
Then Leicester and Liverpool. But them 4 games are vital. Even if you came to us and you got a draw, I think that's a good point there.
It would be, mate. I would take it now.
But seriously, I mean, if you got a win out of Brentford, went to us, got a draw, probably got a win against Norwich, because Norwich are in bad form as well. They are bad. Do you know what I mean? And in Burnley's probably a tricky one. But maybe if you got a draw there, that'd be a good point.
I hate to talk about like 6-pointers and must-win games, because Newcastle, I mean, what we do is we lose against the teams we should be beating and somehow pull off something against the team we shouldn't be beating. But like, if we come out the end of those games and I still haven't won, it's over for me. Like, honestly, and I don't want to, like, if Eddie Howe's listening, no pressure. But I mean, honestly, like, these games coming up are huge. Brentford coming in, and it gets you on a good trajectory as well. If he comes in and will win that game at Brentford in front of the home crowd, and straight away the confidence goes from like 0 to hero, like it will make such a big difference, because we look starved of confidence at the minute. That's what Eddie Howe needs to put into these players is, you can win a game, because we'll go out there and we'll just see what happens. And if it goes well, it does. Like, we need to go out there and actually try and win the game, not just stand around and hope for the best. So he's got a job on his hands, but I'm hoping he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said before, the international break is vital for you right now. But I would say everyone's been talking about the January transfer. Or do you think you're going to just splash the cash straight away? Do you reckon the money's going to be there straight away, or do you think it's going to take maybe a couple of years? Or
I definitely think that the funds will be available. Like, there's quite a funny thing going around at the minute with Newcastle fans saying, I was a fan when, I was a fan when we didn't sign Tuanzebe in the summer because Mike Ashley wouldn't pay his 2 million loan fee. Like, all that kind of thing is just complete madness. Like, I do think that there'll be funds available. I mean, this is what Sky Sports tell you, is that we're going to sign Mbappe or Haaland or something mental. Like, that, it's not happening. I honestly think like a good 50 million, because it's January as well. Like, there's not a lot of time to do much. I would like to see. I was at the start of the season, or when the takeover went through, I was saying 2 or 3 players. I think I'm upping that now, 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's all good saying, these people saying, Haaland and Mbappe.
Yeah.
But these players, right? It's all good having these players, but they've never played a rainy night in Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've never played they're used to these hot weather places, and do you know what I mean? It's a completely different story when you come to these other places,
No, definitely. I mean, some of the more smarter signings we're being linked to is like Tarkowski from Burnley, centre back, because we're desperate for a defender, and his contract ends in the summer. So if we can pull him in for 10 million, I think that will be a shrewd signing that would be good for us. And with Eddie Howe, we're linked with Ake on loan or something like that. I think that will be really good as well. We don't have to go out and spend 200 million to fix this squad. I honestly think some smart loan deals just to get us at the 17th this season. Honestly, if you offered me 17th now, I'd take it, and we'll start again in the summer. Yeah. Like, this season's almost a write-off. So just some smart loan signings or whatever to see us over the line. And then in the summer, then we can talk about 20, 30 million signings. Jesse Lingard's on a free and all that kind of thing. But for now, just get us over the line, please.
Yeah, 100%. But it would be nice. I actually like the takeover scenario, because a lot of people, here we go, it's going to be the new Manchester City and all that. But to be fair, the last couple of seasons, Manchester City have been dropping. They have dropped. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're number one now. There's a lot more better teams out there now that are spending. I mean, Arsenal's net worth, like the last spending net worth, they're second. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's crazy. So teams are now starting to put more into it, and these American owners have realised, hang on a minute, we need to start playing the ball game as well with the spending.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, for starters, Newcastle never do anything easily. So people who are saying we're going to win something in the next few years, I think they're thinking a bit too quick. I mean, I'd love just at one point I was thinking, well, we'd do anything in my lifetime. Now I'm hoping that we might do it in maybe the next 10 years or so. Not even Premier League, mate. Just a freaking League Cup would give us something to cheer about up here, because there's been nothing for so long. But like you say, at the end of the day, Mike Ashley was a billionaire. Mike Ashley left with, zero net spend of effectively in the 14 years. So all that money that were made from selling players, all that money were made from the turnstiles, all that money that we've spent on shirts, that went absolutely nowhere. Yeah. And even though these guys have got 300 billion or whatever the hell they've got, they're not you can't walk in the summer and spend that.
I know, exactly,
It's still going to be, 50 to 100 million. And, as you say, your owners, Daniel Levy or whoever else, they could spend 100 million if they wanted to.
Yeah.
That's the thing, they just don't want to. That's the issue.
Yeah, it's a massive issue as well, because they're more concentrated on bringing out new training tops every week. Do you know what I mean? It's like Arsenal have like 60 now training tops. Where does it end? Do you know what I mean? And I've said to my missus that I've got to buy a new wardrobe just for my extra tops. She went, "You've got all 3 tops this season." I went, "No, but they keep bringing more out. I shouldn't really be that dumb and buy them all." Do you know what I mean? But I love this. It's an addiction when you start. Anyone will know when you start getting the tops, you want all of them. Do you know what I mean? But
I am a fan of that yellow one that you've got. Is that the away top?
yes. So they've just got the cannon. Then they've
That's
gone
a
back
nice
just
one.
Yeah. But they're doing the replica tops, and then they're doing the match day tops. So the replica tops are a bit thicker. It feels like I'm wearing a jumper. And over in Gran Canaria, that's not what I want to be wearing. But But it's all about money. Like the authentic tops now are 110 quid. I mean, where'd you get that from? When back in the day, a normal top would be about £50.
No, well, I mean, Newcastle are one of the most expensive for shirts in the Premier League, which is crazy considering how bad we are. But that was another thing under Mike Ashley as well. You know, I've not actually bought the home top. I mean, I'm wearing a replica now.
Yeah.
And I've got loads of the old kits. I raided my dad's cupboard for all of his old shirts as well.
Yeah.
I've not actually gone out and bought one of our actual like kits for a good few years now. Just again because you're spending more and more money in this club and you're seeing zero return.
Zero, yeah. Where do you stop? That's what I'm saying. Where do you stop? Yeah. Like you're putting so much more into the club than the actual owners are. Do you know what I mean? Like back then. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely think January will be very interesting for you. It'll be an interesting time, and like you say, it'll be clickbait everywhere, won't it? Just to see what's happening. You know,
it will, mate. It will. I mean, as I say, I'd love it if Eddie Howe can have us, because I think there'll be real pressure as well. If we're still sat in the relegation zone come January, like the pressure to try and fix it with new signings will be like astronomical. Like what I want is for us ideally to be in 16th come the January, maybe a win or two ahead of the relegation zone, because that just takes the pressure off a little bit. Like we've kind of proved we can probably get through this without spending. And then we can still spend a little bit. Like if we are in the relegation zone and suddenly realize we need to spend like 100 million to try and save the scenario, because all the teams are going to rip us off as well, because everyone's going to know we've got money and we're desperate. Although in theory maybe it's not an issue, if we've got as much money as they say we do, then maybe they'll just pay it regardless. But I mean, I'd rather not get ripped off if we can help it.
But we can sit here and all day and chat about, like, you know, now you've got the money to do these things and that, but we could be completely and utterly wrong and it go the other way, and no one, you sign absolutely no one. Or do you know what I mean? It's sometimes it doesn't have to do with money. Do you know what I mean? We all talk about it being a money game now, but realistically, players go where they want to go. Do you know what I mean? And that's the end of it. Do you know what I mean? If you get like, I want to like buy someone for like 100 million or something like that, you know, they could just turn around easily and go, well, they down the road like City. Do you know what I mean? Go there.
Yeah.
There's a bit more of a history now with City recently. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I agree. Well, again, this is the thing. If Eddie Howe can turn things around and we're sitting in 15th and he can go to, you know, Ake at City, who's not getting any game time, and go, you know what, mate, do you fancy joining me for a few months on a loan? You might say, yeah. If we are bottom of the league with 0 wins, I think Ake would probably rather just sit on the City bench and not do anything than have to come and fight in this, you know, dog fight down the bottom. So I definitely think, like, I mean,
I'm just going to try and look at the league now, but I think it's so tight down that bottom bit anyway, isn't it? I mean, you've got...
Yeah.
So you're sitting on 5 points with Norwich, and above you Burnley on 8. I actually thought Burnley were a lot higher than that, so that is going to be a tough game for you.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
And then I think, is it Leeds are on 10, is it?
Leeds are now on 11. You've got Aston Villa and Watford below them, both on 10.
Oh, so, right, okay.
I mean, it's tight just down there anyway, isn't it? You know, like I said, it's early days anyway, you know?
Yeah, I think the worrying thing is that, as you say, we're 2 wins away from getting out the relegation zone, and as you've just said it there, we're playing, you know, Burnley and Norwich in the next like 4 games, and not only do we need to beat them, but if they beat us, that puts them even further away as well. So it's a double-edged sword.
I absolutely hate facing teams that are in that relegation zone. You know, at the end of the season as well. So if we're fighting for like to get into Europe or something, we get one of them teams in the fixtures, I'm like, I hate it, because they always put more of a fight in than middle table teams do, because they know they're safe. Or do you know what I mean? It's hard work, definitely hard work.
It's going to be a fight, mate. I know that for sure. I'm really hoping, as you say, that Eddie Howe's in there now. I mean, I've no doubt he was in there. Well, I know I've been watching a lot of videos. Apparently his work rate's second to none. Again, I just said it a minute ago. Steve Bruce had them in 2 days a week because he wanted to sit at home and do nout. I think Eddie Howe's going to have them in on 12-hour shifts trying to sort this out. So I have got some faith. I think he has got some good players to work with. I think our team is definitely underperforming massively. So if you can get even half a tune out of them, I'm thinking we should hopefully be able to pick up some wins and some points, because we need them desperately.
Yeah. What would you say that you absolutely need in the January? You said you needed a centre back. Was it centre back?
Yeah, you know what it is. Our defense, 3 years ago was one of our best assets. But the problem is we've still got the same defense we had when we were in the Championship 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Clark, he's lost his legs. Lascelles has dropped off. I mean, Fernandez has been really good for us, but again, he must be about 52 by now. I mean, he can't run anymore. So as much as these guys did us a really good job, unfortunately, their abilities is just gone now. We haven't kept a clean sheet yet. So defense, absolutely. I think Dubravka's all right in goal, but he's injury prone. I think we're okay there for now. A centre midfielder, we spoke about Willock earlier. I think he looked so good last season, but he's been injured as well. And this is the thing with us, we've got 11 players. Yeah. So the minute someone gets injured, there's no replacement.
There's no replacement. Yeah. We were talking about yesterday about West Ham. West Ham are good, but they haven't got the backup with it. You know what I mean? You can have such a good team and go on a good run, but you need them reserves to come in, step in, and pick their game up as well. If you don't have that, then you're screwed, really, aren't you?
No, you're right. And someone was saying it the other day. We are one Callum Wilson injury away from a relegation because we don't have any. Well, we've got Dwight Gale. Even when Callum Wilson was injured, we still didn't play Dwight Gale. So I mean, the fact that he's still in the squad is just unbelievable. If he's the only fit striker and he still can't get a game, so basically we've got Wilson. And he is injury prone. So I have no doubt he will get injured again between now and the end of the season. Similar with Antonio at West Ham, like you've just mentioned them there. He is a quality striker when he's fit. It's the same with Wilson. So that's another thing in January. We need to bring a striker in, not necessarily to play ahead of Wilson. Maybe we could play them together. But as I say, if he gets injured, we need someone to put the ball in the net.
Do you think Eddie's going to change the formation of the team much?
Well, the only has a lot of people have been saying that he's going to get in there and he's going to make changes straight away, and we definitely do need changes. The only hesitation I've got is these players have played the same way for 3 years under Bruce, and to be fair, a very similar way under Rafa as well. To turn that all around overnight is going to be a tough task. So I do think that the changes people want won't come quite as quickly as people expect. But from what I understand, Eddie Howe is a lot more into his attacking football than either Steve Bruce or Rafa Benitez was. And he likes playing 4 at the back and possibly even 2 strikers up front. As I say, we don't have 2 strikers, so we can't play that at the minute. But no. I could possibly expect to see maybe 4 at the back with proper fullbacks rather than what we've been playing with, which is like makeshift wing backs. I mean, we haven't got a left back either. We're playing Richie there. I mean, the poor bloke again. He's getting on now. We're expecting him to run the whole left wing. We've got Lewis, who is a left back, but he doesn't see the light of day. So there are these players who maybe aren't getting game time, and I'm hoping that Eddie Howe can walk in and say, you know what, maybe we should be giving these guys a go. Yeah,
100%. Well, Rob, I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you for coming on. We've had a nice little chat about Newcastle, and I do hope you stay up, because I actually like Newcastle being in the Premier League. I do. When you went down, I was a bit gutted for you, and when you came back up, I was delighted. I mean, but I could say that about a load of teams that come up. Now I'm a bit like, oh, I don't want them there now. But yes, I will leave the description. Don't forget to check out his channel, Rubenstein, on YouTube. And also, if you're into your fantasy football, I will leave the link as well where you can join fantasy football. Are you into fantasy football, Rob?
I am, mate. Have you got a league? I'll have to join.
Anyone that wins that league, I'm doing a package as well, one-way package. So you'll have you'll have a football top in there, you'll have a hat, you'll have a ball, cup, mug. Do you know what I mean? So a little package for the winner of that league.
I'll have to get involved, mate.
Yes, mate. Yeah, I'll leave the link below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new around here, and smash us a like. Thank you very much, mate, for coming on. And I hope maybe we can talk after the January and things have changed a bit for you.
I was going to say, you'll have to come over onto my channel before we play you guys in a few weeks' time, and you can let me know what the rundown is. Yes,
I'll come onto your channel and we can do a little session about Arsenal as well. All right. Stuff. No worries. I'll take care, mate. All right. And I'll catch you in a bit.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
One Way Football.